Yeah. Now today, I this is today how you can define the role of engineer, so that you can give many definition between the with various terms through the various means. But I want to tell you something that engineering is a profession that actually envision knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences, the gain by study experience and practice applied with the judgment to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. This long sentence will give you a lot of things. You know, engineering is practicing profession. It's a practicing profession. It deals with the practice, right? I want to ask one question: whether the theory is based on the practice, number one, or number two, practice is based on theory. Listen carefully, whether the theory is based on the practice or practice is based on the theory. First one is theory is based on the practice. It means you define theories based on the practice. But second one, practice is based on theory. It means that when you define the theory, then you do the practice. What should be the most correct way? It is number one. Because number one is this. Theory is based on the practice. Right? Now, I want to tell you an example. Even 2,500 years ago, if someone throw a stone into the air, it will go up and it will come down, right? It means that it had gone up and it would come down. Not really, it would come down. So it means the trajectory of that stone, it was a practice, but because it started from the high velocity, it goes up, velocity reduced, and it comes to a certain position, velocity is zero, then again it comes down, it comes down. So, but Isaac Newton was not there. But that phenomena existed. That phenomena existed. But Isaac Newton, he developed a theory based on that practice. What is the theory? He defined three formulas. You have done everything in applied mathematics, right? Using the Newton laws, right? And after that, Einstein came. He changed the whole world upside down. But some theories still exist, but based on the practice. Then you can ask, the without theory, how can you do the practice? Very simple. Very simple. Now, scientist invented something. Scientist invented something. Graham Bell invented, but sorry, engineers invented, scientists discovered, Archimedes discovered something when we was taking a bath. Some water spill away. Then he realized that the volume should be equal to the space he's taking place when he was in the water, right? So engineers, what I'm going to say, practice is based on theory. But based on the theory, practice, you develop certain theories. Based on some theories, you can develop application. Yes, that is agreed. Please do mindful that always theory, when we define theory, there are a lot of assumptions you have to make it. Lot of assumptions you have to make it. Now, in this, coming back to that is engineering. It's a profession in which knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences, because when you deal with engineering practices, research and development, planning and design, you want to develop models to depict actual scene. Always what you do, you have the multiple inputs and multiple outputs. So then you will have to develop hypotheses to test certain hypotheses. You have to make certain assumptions. You have to make some model. I think if the electrical engineers, if you join with today, you can realize that high voltage transmission, long distance transmission lines, and short distance transmission lines, you can define either T model in the short distance and long distance phi model. So those are the assumptions. But based on the assumptions, you can reach some conclusions. So that is why we call the research. Research means searching again and again, right? So therefore the mathematical knowledge is important. You need to know metrics, and you should know complex numbers and other mathematical tools, statistics, etc. So then you will get the support of natural sciences. Archimedes found the floating principle, and electronics and electric current means nothing but flowing of electrons. So electron rate is defined as electron rate is defined as current. So you have to do some mathematical models to test it. And this is gained by study and experience. Don't forget the fact. Engineering practice gain, study and experience. So applied with the correct judgment to develop the ways to utilize economically. That is very important. Economically means that resources are scarce, not in abundance. The resources are always limited. Whatever engineering product, engineering solution you develop, You have to utilize the resources effectively and efficiently. That is also part of engineering. And finally, benefit of mankind. Whatever you do through the engineering practice, finally there should be benefits for the people. Benefits for the people. And there should be beneficiaries. The benefits can be measured, else benefit can be not measured. Those called the intangible benefits, tangible benefits as well as intangible benefits. When you work with working with engineering, there are always three terms you should keep in mind. Number one is output. Engineers are very familiar. Outcome. Number three, benefits. Mostly engineers, they are very much keen on achieving output. Only few engineers, they want to achieve benefits and outcome. Now, for example, output is that such a simply defined as the what you can measure. Take an example, Southern Expressway. That before Southern Expressway, now when Southern Expressway or something is built, that is a 2 lanes track in one direction, another 2 lane tracks for another direction, the 4 lanes. What is the output? The engineering output is 4 lanes. This is the width. This is the length. That you can say that is engineering output. What is the outcome? What is the outcome? That you can reach from Goal to Colombo within 1 hour. You can reach from Goal to Kotta within 1 hour. That is the outcome. So what are the benefits? Benefits, wider sense. Save your time. Save your time. Who are the beneficiaries? People traveling. So those are the things you'll have to keep in mind when you do the engineering practices: output, outcome, and benefits. Here, that is engineer versus scientist. As I explained, scientist discovers the theories to explain the existing phenomena in our environment. Engineer innovates solutions using the discoveries what scientists have come across. Else, engineers use applications, so solving problems of living beings. Accordingly, engineer will bring the benefits to the society through their applications. Now, few centuries ago, building of bridge across ocean, across the sea, would have been a miracle. But thanks to civil engineering developments, latest technologies, construction technologies, that is a dream to a reality. Dream to a reality. Right? And telecommunication. You can see, I experienced, because in my childhood, in 1972, that is when I wanted to get a telephone call from Mathura to Kandy, I was 12 or 14 years ago. 14 years at that time, schoolboy. I wanted to give an urgent message for my brother-in-law who works in Kandy. So then my father wrote a small letter, small something, piece of paper. And he asked me to go to post office and book a call. So I went to post office at Matra, post office. Still, I can remember the time. Because it is actually the day my wife, my sister's first confinement. That is the birth of a new baby. So I wanted to give the message. So then I went to this post office. So I had to wait in the queue and give that is a postmaster. And I gave telephone number. Then I booked the call. You can believe he asked me that now time is 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. I can remember I did not go to school that day because actually it was a happy day for us in the family. So after what he said, you can come around 2 p.m. in the evening. Then only we can connect the call. No STD dialing, no direct dialing. So I went there about 2 o'clock with my father. The exact 2 o'clock, that call, the booked call. So we were in the queue and postmaster said, who is Vikram Surya? And my father got the call. Today, within a second, within a second, you can transfer millions of rupees thanks to the data communication that changed the whole world. So those are not the discoveries, but the innovations. Solutions. We need solutions. Engineers have to provide solutions for the people, solutions for the country, rather than creating problems. Nowadays, the much talked subject of the gas explosion. People need what? Not the excuses and the solutions. Now in here, again, this slides gives you and society versus engineering. The people in general living together in the community. That is called the society. Society is formed and defined in many ways. People in general living together in community. Right. Now they demand goods and services with the following values and deliverables from the engineers. The engineers should deliver expectations of the society. So, number one is the safety and security. We have to deliver something. So, are you sure that we deliver the things, maintaining the safety and security, and following the standards and regulations, an economical way of doing it? Now, competence is now what I am telling here. The word engineer throughout this presentation, I assume that I deliver this lecture for chartered engineers. As you want to be a chartered engineer, you want to do the B paper. That is why I assume that this particular lecture engineer means, unless it is specified, is for chartered engineers. Right. There are 5 competencies. Before that, I want to ask one question, is that competency. Now there are, maybe sometimes spelling mistakes are there. It is the competencies is wrong here. My apologies, you can correct the word. Thanks to the word processing, because those days we were doing writing many sentences without a simple mistake. But now actually because of that our laziness, now we depends only word process. The one mistake. The competence is required to become a chartered teacher. A knowledge and understanding of engineering principles. What do you mean by competency? What do you mean by competence? Competency means not the skill, not only knowledge. Not only skill, not only knowledge, not only attitude, right? We should blend all things together. Then it goes as competencies. Competencies, other way, you can define knowledge, you can define a set of skills. Set of skills required. Set of skills. Competencies, set of skills. How is set of skills? Set of skills. In here, other definition is that the competency is equal to mathematically. So it is a blend of skill, knowledge, and attitude. Skill is required. How do you gain the skill? Through your academic courses, self-learning. And how you become a skills? Through that. It's knowledge. You can get the more knowledge through the academic course, and skills you can get through the practices, and attitude also you can get through the practices. So therefore, that competencies means knowledge, skill, and attitude. Right? Now, we can classify mainly to the 5 areas. This is the international definition, but differently worded. Knowledge and understanding of engineering principles. It means you must have the knowledge and understanding of engineering principles. So how can you get it? You can get it via following a 4-year degree course, 4-year engineering degree or equivalent. You have to follow the structured, well-structured course. Otherwise, you can't get it. Because somebody can say, I have the knowledge. But your knowledge should be assessed. So someone can say, I can get the knowledge by reading. Can't. After reading, somebody should assess your knowledge through exams, through laboratory classes, and etc. And next one is design and development process, systems, services, and products. Sometimes it can be said that it is practical application of, but its international definition is that, but the local definition we can say practical applications. How can you apply these applications? How can you use these applications? Practical way, following the economies of scale, economically. That word is very careful. When you become a chartered engineer, you have to see that how these resources should be economically used to an end product. And your responsibility, management, and leadership. This is very important. But here the leadership is the the word, some people wrongly wrongly interpreted. Some people can wrongly interpret leadership. Here, the word leadership is mainly used for the leadership required for a chartered. Leadership required for a chartered. Listen carefully. Some even a civil servant, even a business leader who runs a company, he needs leadership. There are some common leadership traits are required for any kind of leadership. But for a chartered engineer here, you will have to understand that what kind of leadership required for a chartered engineer. Right? I will tell this way. Now, when you have a Pirit ceremony or Dana Pinkam at your home, especially in a village, nowadays that culture may have gone, but always there is a leader. Some leaders are emerging to to organize the affairs of Dana Pinkam or Pirit ceremony. That is, he may be an accepted leader by the village, that he is the best person knows about this. He knows how that is Dana is organized. That he may be a member or non-member of a family. But after the Pirit ceremony of Dana Pinkama, his leadership is over. So his knowledge is very valuable. He knows customs of the village. He knows how to do the timing based on his knowledge, based on skills. The same thing similarly applied to chartered engineer. When you are a chartered engineer, when you give the leadership, just not to sign the papers, leave papers, just not signing for the overtime, just not for signing the work orders, but you are as a chartered engineer. As a chartered engineer, you have a very good knowledge of understanding engineering principles and how to apply those into theory, those into the benefits of the society. Then people expect that, right? People expect that, right? For example, in my career, as a telecommunication engineer, right? And those days, when someone comes to my desk that can ask Mr. Sarath, my line has been out of order for many days. Many days. So people are telling so many stories. Underground fault or other fault, whatever it is. So if I were the typical engineer, what I would have done it, hand over to my subordinate FNA for necessary action. That is a very common slogan, very common way that we handling the things. Is it not? I never did it. Because you know why? When a person who comes, who wants to meet me and travel from far away sometimes to meet that is an engineer, assuming that engineer will address my issue, because engineer has a responsibility to do it. Not only responsibility, he has a accountability to do it. So can I return him empty-handed? Never. So I have to solve that problem. Somebody can say why I should solve it. This is a matter related to the inspector. He came to your desk because your inspector did not do the job. That is why he came to your desk. Then you have to understand why did he come to me? Then you process something wrong in your process. Some inefficiency in your process. Some performance issue in your process. So those things you'll have to realize. So then if you don't give the solution to the problem, tomorrow another 50 people will come. Today, if you see the newspapers, if you read the newspapers, you watch TV, can you remember that bus accident? Killing how many people? About 30 people. Now, still, no solution, no remedies applied it. No remedies applied it. Where are we responsible? So, somebody should get leadership and change the thing. Road is blocked. I can remember the days few years ago in my province, some Navy people, salesmen, sailors, 5 sailors, they wanted to get their driving license. They boarded into one vehicle, elbowed. So, unfortunately, high tension line, 33 kV line, at the broken line, right? At finally, that broken line landed on the top of the vehicle. Five people died on the spot. 4 people died on the spot. All 4 people who actually at that time who were disembarking from the vehicle. Means one leg is inside the vehicle, another leg is outside the vehicle on the ground. But the person who stayed inside the vehicle, not killed. 4 people died on the spot. But 2 agencies, electricity distributors, they passed the ball here and there. But high level inquiry, but no result. But the issue is that the relays not operated. Both protection relays not operated. So are we responsible? This is a constructive criticism. Nothing against anyone. So I can list out many examples. Sometimes the concrete poles, due to road winding projects, the concrete poles, Ceylon Electricity Board, some poles, they are middle of the road. Telecommunication also middle of the road, other side. Road is widened. But when the question is asked, RD is telling, we have asked CB and telecom to widen, sorry, displace these poles. But telecom and CB says RD has not made the payment. Innocent motorists, they have to use their own safety mechanism, the vehicles. I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm telling that who is responsible. There are a lot of district development council meetings, matters discussed, and with no result. I told you no outcome, but we need an outcome. So here the leadership is something is that you leaders deliver the results. So engineering leaders, chartered engineer, when you lead, you deliver the results. And engineering solution, you deliver the expectation of the society or your customers. And another thing is that the communication and interpersonal skills. The communication in and interpersonal skills. Here the communication, kindly note that here the communication is, you will have to communicate very precisely and clearly, maintaining the clarity. You will have to communicate something very clearly, even precisely, maintaining the clarity. This is argued, this can be argued many ways, right? Now, it is good that if you have a very good knowledge in English to do that, that is also another competency required. But even I have noticed even the people who are very literate and have the very power of vocabulary and good narratory skills and oratory skills can't communicate clearly. Can't communicate clearly. Because here we'll have to understand that what kind of communication we should, what kind of message we should deliver, to whom it should deliver, whether the person receiving next end can understand. So the communication is to give you a message clearly and precisely. I will tell you, we are most of the people who may have working in the large organization or medium-sized organization or some other organization, small organizations. Now in Sri Lanka, we have a circular culture. Now when you issue a circular in the top, so the circular is issued, nice words, grammatically perfect, right? And with the appropriate collocations. But unfortunately, the common man could not understand it. It is true that when you write something, you will have to, but with the literary value also important, literal value also important. So in a law, if you go and read the act, right? The act normally written in the legal terms, which means you cannot define that in loose terms, but define in very specific terms. That is correct. Because otherwise, this will be misinterpreted. But circulars also same. But communication. Now, just issuing the circular or guideline by the top. Do you really contact your staff? Line managers contact their staff as supervisor level, technician level, to understand this circular? Never. Thing is that is the main problem. You assume that everyone know. You have to communicate in your own terms, but without any distortion to the meaning. And your interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills means kindly note that we are engineers, the society. All are not engineers. If you write something to the engineer, another non-engineer, using the engineering terminology, he may not be able to understand. So interpersonal skills means you have to develop interpersonal skills, the appropriate communication, and you will have to uh, understand what others are telling, and you will have to get the work done from the various people, which means you must show them that they trust you and you trust them. Interpersonal is very important when you handle the people. And professional commitment and the conduct. That is very important. Here the commitment is the professional commitment, and sometimes within that also conduct as well. You know, the judges in few decades ago, even judges cannot go for market. Judges cannot go to the open places. Even they go to the open places, there is a one table reserved for them. A very hard life they maintain. They cannot entertain the friends because they had to maintain that conduct. That is say they are committed. They were committed to that, but now a little bit change it. Kindly note that when you are an engineer, chartered engineer, your freedom also limited. You cannot do the way they want. Society will look at you as a responsible person. Therefore, you have to maintain your conduct. So I am not going to tell many things on that. So there should be another lecture for the professional conduct. Here also, I now role, responsibility, function of an engineer. One second. Yes. Now, when you are, I will go to some new slide for that. I will share this one. And I will start from this one. Role of an engineer. Now, most of people, they don't know about their role of engineer. Role of an engineer. So engineer is a team leader. Now, what is the role? You have to understand the role, responsibility. Before that, you have to be a role. That the role of an engineer, you can, the role, the definition you can uh, study from a movie, which means that a veteran, some veteran film actors, for example, like film like in Cinema Sakpiti in Gamini Fonseca. Most of the films, actually, he played a hero's role. But some movies, he played, he did cast a role of villain. So when you are a, say, I am a Sarat. Now Sarat now is appointed as an engineer. Then I must know what role I should play. Then team lead. I am a team leader. I should not forget that. With my appointment, I have become a leader, right? And I have become a manager. The question is, what is the difference between team leader and manager? Now, manager you give an appointment. Manager is your official appointment. You are appointed as a manager. You are appointed as a district engineer for buildings, district engineer for irrigation, area engineer for CB, regional telecom office engineer for Sri Lanka Telecom, regional engineer for dialogue. So this is your appointment, manager engineer appointment. But your appointment letter does not specify that you are a team leader. You are a team leader. Team leader. Now, in team leader, when you are defined team leader, it is not appointed. It should be inside you, within you, within you. It means some managers are all managers are not leaders. But you know what is the role of leader? It is very difficult to define. It means that you become a leader once you are appointed, provided that you have set traits. The good leaders, they take decisions. Quickly, they will decide. They need quick decisions. They will take quick decisions. And they clearly communicate. They listen to your problems. They are a very good listener. To be a leader, you should be a good listener. And you sum up that that you listen to everyone, but finally you take the decision. That is very important. That is, you'll have to listen. Sometimes I am telling this uh, with the perspective of engineer. So you take decisions. So you have to take a decision based on the inputs you received and based on your experience. Kindly note that all decisions are subjective. Whatever decision may you make, there will be a risk, but you'll have to take the decisions. The good leaders, they take timely decisions. They don't delay the decisions. And you sometimes you have to listen. You'll have to heed the advice. Even for a driver, you have to listen. So those are the, and a good leader should be a good motivator. A good leader never let down the people. Good leader always, which means welcome mistakes in the first time. Because people can make the mistakes. People are made of human beings. But you have to play the managerial role as well. That manager normally, they have to work according to the existing culture of the organization. That is also, then we combine the team lead and the manager. We can say managerial leadership. And you are a good should be a representative. For example, you are a district engineer, you are a representative. When you go for the district coordinating committee meeting, you should not be the laughing points. That you will be, you should be a man who can, that is your word can be believed by the others. And you should be a very good planner. And you should be a very decision maker. And you should oblige to rules and regulations. Rules and regulations. Now, then what are the responsibilities? What are the responsibilities? The responsibilities are to oversee entire operations undertaken by him or her and ensure that meeting overall results will be here. What I, because this early morning I prepare this presentation due to my heavy workload, to oversee entire operations undertaken by him, because you are undertaking and you are giving oath when you are appointed. Ensure that ensure that meeting, ensure that results will be timely delivered, maintaining economies of scale. Economies of scale, adhering to safety standard, complying with regulations, optimizing the resources without compromising overall quality. Kindly go through this statement. To oversee entire operations, forget about the word operation for the time being. Ensure that results here, results with the outcome, the expected outcome, right? Expected outcome, right? If you are designing a bridge and for example, the narrow road widen to avoid the traffic accidents, and you construct a bridge across the canal. Now, again, after construction of the bridge, if the width of the road is exactly same as before, it is not the expected results. So to oversee entire operation undertaken by him and ensure that results will be timely delivered, maintaining economies of scale. Here word is timely delivered is very important, because if you are working in a government sector, even working in private sector, so some projects we planned to deliver some expectations within the specified time interval. If you cannot deliver within that specified time interval, no use. No use. Because if you cannot provide a particular road repair, cannot be repaired that before the rainy season, what is the problem of repairing it after the rainy season? Now, in case of a competitive environment, it is very dangerous. If you want to deliver a product, in time to the market, if you cannot deliver within the expected time, but your competitor will deliver within expected time, what will happen? You will lose the market share. Now, in a timed delivery and maintaining economies of scale, sometimes you can design a product at a very huge cost. No one will approach. What is the purpose? And maintaining economies of scale means, economies of scale is here what? When you produce more, always you look at system automation, and you'll have to improve the efficacy of the process so that final cost will be reduced. And adhering to safety standards. If you go and work in the other country, even you get your charter here, even you get the professional engineer registration here, you go and work some other country, you have to follow a certificate course in sometimes down under in Australia. Certification. Or you must know safety regulation of this particular state. But if you move into the another state from maybe Adelaide to Melbourne, you will have to do it once again. Because from state to another state, the standards are different. High standard maintaining the highly livable cities and complying with regulations. You have to be compliant with regulations. Adhering to safety standards. Optimizing the resources. Again coming, but without compromising overall quality. Here you can say, nowadays, the people living in the fear psychosis. People wear helmets in the kitchen because about the gas regulator, gas cylinder and the regulation. Sri Lanka Standard Institution says they have the standard only for cylinder, but not for the regulator and accessories. It is still being developed. But in the gas mixture, still no standards. That engineers, intellectuals, scientists, they express their opinion in electronic social media, electronic media, and printed media. But the poor citizens still are in the dilemma. whom we should believe. So it is here the safety standard and without compromising oral quality. Two buzzwords most engineers have forgotten today. I am not telling everyone, due to maybe the busy life, but those are the responsibilities. Now, what are the categories of responsibilities? The engineer's responsibilities, we can categorize. Some engineers are responsible network planning and design. Some engineers are responsible project implementation. Some engineers are responsible operation and maintenance. Some engineers are responsible research and development. But some engineers are responsible for all four areas, but very unlikely. But some engineers are responsible sometimes two of these areas, not simultaneously. They have worked as network planning and design, and now they may be working as operation and maintenance. So whatever said and done, you have to understand what is your role. That's why I prepare this slide. Now coming to key job functions. If you are a qualified or chartered engineer, your key job functions are not limited to that. Planning and budgeting, overall key activity based on corporate goals. Now in here, you have corporate goals. You are working to a private company. You are working to government institute, department, corporation, etc. But each and every institute, they have goals. They have goals. Those are called the corporate goals. Now, they appoint you as a district engineer. Because, for example, we have many districts in the country. So, for example, in RDA, they appointed regional engineer, district engineer for various districts, right? Wait a minute. Now, so as they cannot, these corporate goals cannot be met by a one person. They have appointed people in the districts, provinces, but they have corporate goals. These corporate goals are that. The corporate goals may be quantified terms, number of roads, number of, which means to minimize some road accidents, number of road accidents, or sometimes how many kilometers new roads and how many kilometers rehabilitated, etc. So those goals are now divided into corporate targets. These corporate goals are divided into small targets, achievable targets. Normally, these are called the SMART. The most of you may be doing MBAs. I don't want to explain. SMART targets means targets. Because of these targets, you will have to drill down another micro level. So you have a target. Based on the goals, you have the activities. Then you have to plan and budget. Always planning and budgeting goes together. Planning and budgeting overall key activities based on corporate goals. When this amount of roads or this amount of lines you have to rehabilitate, then you must know that is the key activities you have to plan. And you will have to do the budgeting for that. That is a part of your job function. And you will have to clearly communicate and allocate resources to your staff and assigning the targets derived from the corporate goals. Derived from the corporate goals. Okay? Derived from the corporate goals. Right. Guys, derived from corporate goals. Here should be corporate goals. Right. Now, next one is ensure that processes are well established and apply the changes wherever necessary. Wherever necessary. Right? Ensure that what processes are well established and apply the changes wherever necessary. Kindly, dear friends, be mindful that now there are activities, but most of the people forget that the processes, activities should be aligned through the processes. Because one activity needs another input from the another activity, output from the another activity. Thing is this, when you are in a working the multitasking environment, the process approach is essential. It is an integral part of engineering practice, the process approach. And sometimes you still use the old processes. You will have to revisit to those processes, to the changes. That is your chartered engineer's key job function. And again, I have so the allocate resources to the staff. So you have duplicated, but in here, allocation very much important. Right. Now I think I have clearly but shortly explaining of functions. I want to get a 5 minutes break, and after that, I want to ask complete this one, and so we can go the question and answers before moving into that. Now you 5 minutes. Yes. Before moving into the next one, do you need any more explanation on this topic? Do you have any questions? Please raise your hands. You will have questions. Do you have questions? Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir. We can. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes. Is it clear, or you have need any questions? You need any raise any question? Okay. Now I think it's clear. Now I want to go something about Engineering Council Act. But before going to the, I will close the screen. I want to share the screen again. Stop sharing. I cannot tell anything about. Yes, somebody raise a hand. Yes. Sorry. Somebody raise the hand.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ask a
Can you
question.
hear me?
Yes, why not?
It's okay, sir. I have a question that regarding the. So we will have been given a full question in this section, or in your part in today lecture, and combine and other.
Yeah, I cannot exactly say that question structure because I am not a moderator of the question paper. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I want to share this one. Yes. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes. Now, because rather than going to that is giving you another presentation on this one, I will cover the salient features of that. You know, this is the Engineering Council Sri Lanka Act number 4 2017. Until 2017, engineering practice. Someone raise the hand. Could ask question. Yes. Oh, you can lower the hand now. So this is a 2017 Act. Before that, engineering practice not regulated, unlike in the medical and legal profession. It means, you know, medical and legal profession. No one can say I am an attorney unless he is registered, in the bar, unless he gives the oath or his oath is accepted by the country. There was a legal framework for that. Even for doctors, normally we call the doctors, but those are the general practitioners. The medical practitioners cannot practice unless they get the Sri Lanka SLMC registration. Even a license survey, no one can go as I am a survey unless that is he's issued a license by the government. But unfortunately, until 2017, this gazette, this act was published or enacted by the parliament. There is no legislation was formed to regulate the engineering practice. So in here, this is normally in act, this course has a short title. This short title, you can read that an act to provide for the establishment of Engineering Council Sri Lanka, which shall be responsible for the maintenance of professional standard conduct for the engineering practitioner registration, different categories of engineering practitioners. Different kind of engineering practitioners. So that is part one, it says here, the composition of that, and I will move into salient features of that. Those are some other administrative things, but you want to read it. Now I will move into in here, here. Now, there are only 6 categories. Here, section 17, you have to be very carefully read it. There are only 6 categories defined by the Sri Lankan law for someone to engage in the engineering practice. If you are an engineering practitioner, you should get the registration, one of these categories. Category A, chartered engineer, abbreviated CEng. B, associate engineer, abbreviated AEng. This is a little bit controversial. So I am not going to today, because any graduate engineer once pass out, that you are associate membership, legally your category is this. Your abbreviation you can use in the country law AEng. An affiliate engineer. So someone raise hand, you want to ask a question, AIM 190114. You raise your hand, so lower the hand, otherwise it detracts me. And a affiliated engineer. Now there are 6 categories. Chartered engineer. Why you raise hands and lower the hand? You want to ask question, please? Associate engineer, affiliate engineer, incorporated engineer, diplomat. And 7 category, last category is engineering technician, Eng-Tech. Now in here, no engineering practitioner, yeah, very important, shall use any abbreviation, designation, unless such engineering practitioner is registered. In Sinhala mama kiwot, ලංකාවේ ලියාපදිංචි වෙච්ච වෘත්තිකයන් ඉංජිනේරු වෘත්තිකයන් විදියට ඔය කැටගරි 6න් එකකට විතරයි යට අදාළ වෙන්නේ. right? ඔද මම කියන්නේ හේතුනේ සිංගල් ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේෂන් එක තිබුණත් සිංගල් ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේෂන් එකේ තියෙන නිසා sorry I don't actually I am not fluent in Tamil but I told in single because single translation is there. Tamil translation also there but that you can go to that part now. Now how they will register you? How they will register you? Now in here registration Engineering Council Sri Lanka cannot register any practitioner unless his application endorsed by two institutions. One of the two institutions. In according to the act, it has defined two institutions. One is ISL, another one is IISL. Another one is ISL, another one is IISL. Now, in here, they have the schedule A, they define chartered engineer. Chartered engineer of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, established by the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka Act number 17, 1968. You know, in ISL is formed by an act, was formed by an act in 1968. It came as a private bill, but now it has a country law. Right? According to the ISL Act, if you go to the website and read it, you can see that act. It says wide powers given to engineering education and grant in the membership. Now, ISL is the only body, only professional institution who can give a chartered engineer status to a person. So, unless you get the chartered engineer qualification from ISL, you cannot get your registration as a chartered engineer. Now, before that act was formed, even a person who is having a foreign charter qualification, I am not undermining foreign charter qualification, for example, civil engineers UK, mechanical engineers UK, and electrical engineers UK, IET, you can practice in Sri Lanka as a chartered engineer. But after this act is established, Engineering Council, chartered engineer word is a protected word. No one else can use it unless you get the registration. You can't get the registration unless you become a chartered engineer of ISL. Then associate engineer. Associate engineer, 4-year full-time degree in engineering recognized by Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. Or an associate member of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. Now you can see ECSL cannot register anyone unless it is unless his or her application authorized by IESL in case of chartered engineer, in case of associate engineer, in case of affiliate engineer. In here, the affiliate engineer is a 3-time full-time degree, 3-year full-time degree, recognized by Institution of Sri Lanka. Here you will have to understand where the recognized by, not any degree, not each and every degree recognized. And there are another two, incorporated engineer. Incorporated engineer application, that is incorporated engineer status. You get the registration under incorporated engineers if you are a member of IESL. So there are 3 categories for IESL and 2 categories for IESL. And in here, very important, engineering technician in not belong into either IESL or ISL. But in somewhere in the act, if you refer, ISL can recommend some technicians to get their recognition, provided that they obtain National Vocational NVQ qualification level 4 of engineering technology or equivalent qualification recognized by TVEC, tertiary and vocational education. So this is there. Now you'll have to be very clear about this. Now, what are the salient features of this act? There are only 6 number of practitioners, namely chartered engineer, associate engineer, affiliate engineer, incorporated engineer, engineering diplomate, and engineering technician. Now, no one can engage in the engineering practice unless he is fall into one of these category and get registered in engineering council. To have engineering council registration, your application should be endorsed by the respective professional body to which you belong to. That is the salient features of this act. Okay. Now I have covered Engineering Council Act as well. So in here, now I think because we have to make it very short, otherwise it's a boring for you. So now the question time. You can ask questions. Did you understand what I said? Only one person raised hand. Yes, do you have questions, please? Do you have questions? Do you have any question, please? Hello. Do you have any question? No one speaking. Can you kindly chat, send me a chat message? Do you have any question, please?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Just I want your permission to explain one regarding the SLS standards with liquid petroleum gases. I don't know it is for this time it's relevant or not, but I want to remove general public ideas regarding the standard, whether most of the engineers as well as public, they don't know whether standards have or not regarding the liquid petroleum gas.
Yeah.
That actually I studied that one. That's why I want to reveal that one. Can I?
Sorry?
It's very good.
Yeah, SLS 712 1991 liquid petroleum gas standards available in Sri Lanka. Other one SLS 1180
Can extend to
pressure,
other programs also.
pressure regulator and automatic changeover devices for liquid petroleum gases. Other one SLS 1184 valve fitting for use with liquid petroleum gas. After that SLS 1172 part 3 part 2 part 1 for flexible metallic hoses, composite hoses, and rubber hoses. There are so many standards available that if we go through the website, SLSI website,
Okay.
we
Okay.
can find out. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, good that you raise a point, but thing is this now thing is this, there are some standard I presume still under that is under preparation. Am I correct?
I
In
think
the
so.
draft stage.
One committee, one committee, I involved that not amendment are going on, but
Yeah.
standards are available. SLS 712. I'm also one of the committee member in that one. That the available standard in 1998. In this year, they are going to revise it.
Yeah. Anyway, that is out of the, but what I anyway, this is a controversial subject because that's what I said that. So people, they don't know about that is a communication problem. You agree that?
Yes, yes, it's true. That
Yeah, because thing is even what is the purpose of having a standard unless it is communicated to the public. That's right.
yeah, it is true. It
My
is true.
main intention to tell you about, I
Sure,
told you about the communication. So yes, we widely know that. Yeah, now we know 13 ampere socket that we have a well set standard. Am I correct?
Yeah,
13
SLS
socket.
734. Yeah.
Yeah, I am also in the one of the working committee of the SLSI in the electrical engineering side. So we know
Public
a lot of
utilities
standard,
and
standards actually in the draft mode. But we know very sure about, everyone knows very sure about that is cylinder and the regulate cylinder and the valve. Actually, there is a standard. That's what most people know. But thing is this, some standard may having, as I trust you, having a regulator, a valve and everything. But thing is this, in market, there are a lot of goods without standard. Am I
yes,
correct?
regulation is not available for those.
Then no, don't.
Yeah. Okay, then. Thank you very much. Yes, I agree. Another question? Yes, sir. If a person work in a government organization as an engineer, after if the FAI is cancelled, what will happen to his government occupation? Yes, a good question. Who asked that question?
Yes,
Yes.
I am Dilantha Arthagis.
Dilantha, if
Yes, sir.
that is, if the law, according to the law,
Yes.
no one can practice without a ECSL registration. If his registration is cancelled or registration is withdrawn, he cannot practice it. Therefore, the particular institute cannot deploy him further as an engineer. My answer is that.
Yes, got it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, okay. If the problem is this, law, sometimes some people, they don't know that. But we'll have to mindful that no one can say, I did this mistake without knowing the law. Because the law, you can't say that is when the vehicle you overtake on the wrong side, you can say, I did not know the law of the country. But the thing is this, by default, we'll have to know the law, but unfortunately, most of the people, they don't know the law. Okay. Did you get that answer?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. What else? Because thing is this today lecture I have covered using my practical knowledge. I did not get anything from the books and everything is except small slides. I think hope that is you got some salient point from my lecture. Is that okay? Is that clear or unclear?
Your lecture is very clear, sir. We understood that if you deliver it using practical things, we gain
Yeah,
so
okay.
much. Thank you.
Yeah, that is you are welcome. Do you have any question? Please let me know. Well, my main intention to give you the knowledge on the practical aspects. When you write the paper also, you will have to write in the short and sweet. I told you about the importance of the communication. You'll have to make a communication precisely and precisely maintain the clarity. Precisely and maintaining the clarity. That is very important. Yes. I hope you have you don't have any further questions, but I want to tell you something that about in Sri Lanka when you work as an engineer, safety yes, well, no need to write essay type of answers. No, I cannot say that because I am telling that when you write something, this is very open-end questions. Most of the question, I think there will be according to the past papers, most open-end questions you have to answer. When you write the open-end questions, there is no the answers. The 10 answers may be different. As you well aware of when you wrote an essay in a single paper in the GC or level and advanced level English paper. So thing is this, you will have to answer to the, you will have sometimes you will have to build up a logic. You will have to build up a logic. So you will have to specify this your logic and you will have to justify your logic and you will have to bring the fact precisely. And this is that is you can say, I assume this. Sometimes you can make a certain assumption. This is my logic. But other person have the different logic for some questions. But there are some questions, two types now. Direct objective questions and the indirect questions. Direct objective questions, of course, even the 10 people, the answer script, even the 10 people or 15 people, their answer not should be exactly same by the words, but similar. Same answer can be written in different sentences. But with indirect type questions, that is sometimes different schools of thoughts. You can see the problem the different way and you can argue and you can conclude differently. So that is why I'm here. Direct objective questions or indirect questions. And you got the idea. Yes, now as you don't have questions, thank you very much for your patience.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, you can ask.
According to the Engineering Council Act, there are 6 professional status that engineers can practice in Sri Lanka, right? So I also understand IESL become one of the signatory with the Engineering Alliance, with International Engineering Alliance or something. So when one engineer with started engineering go to practice in one of the signatory countries, they have a different standard. Like they practice as a professional engineer. They don't have a chartered engineer. So is there any channel that we can convert chartered engineering status to professional engineering status in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, very good question, but it is not directly related to your question paper. But thing is this here, Washington Accord, Washington Accord is not defined in our act, ECSL Act. The Washington Accord is actually we are a member of IEA, International Engineer Alliance, IEA. In IEA, there are 3 accords. One is a Washington Accord, another one is Sydney Accord, another one is Dublin Accord. Washington Accord for the 4-year full-time degree holders in the engineering background. Sydney Accord is for technologists, and Dublin Accord for the technicians. Now your question is the Washington Accord. If you are degree holder of a Washington Accord, degree holder in Sri Lanka, now here we are talking another word called the engineering mobility. It means if you go some other, now our charter, if you get our charter here, Engineering Council, you can register a charter after getting the corporate membership of institution of Engineers of Sri Lanka. So internationally, when you go there, sometime in Australia, they don't consider you as a chartered engineer in Australia. But when they evaluate and assess your application, if you are a Washington Accord degree holder, they will not ask from you to complete another academic subjects. Which means the Australia is another signatory body, is Washington Accord. Your academic qualification as it is, they can accept without any question. But for the professional qualifications in Australia, they may ask you to sit some other examination or some other PR interviews, etc., PR review process, etc. As you said, there is another avenue, what you can gain in the Sri Lanka after obtaining your charter. Yes. After obtaining your charter, that you can apply, but you have to wait 4 years. So 4 to 5 years, I have forgotten exactly. You can apply from Sri Lanka International Professional Engineer status. International Professional Engineer status is IEA, the member countries, that once you register as International Professional Engineer in whatever the domain, you can go there in other countries, they will accept your professional qualification up to certain extent. But some countries, they may ask you to get some diploma in their countries about safety and other country standards. But if you get the registration as an international professional, it is a registration. So you can get through ISL in Sri Lanka after obtaining your charter. If you move into, if you migrate into Australia, you can get registered. But they may ask sometimes you to sit for some standards of particular state. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, the 10 objectives. So wait a minute, that is, you will have to, that is nothing to teach, but only things there are, you have to, it is in the website clearly. Wait a minute. Yes, right. Here there are 10 objectives. Now, advance in the promote the advance and science and practice of engineering in all its branches in Sri Lanka. To promote and advance the science and practice of engineering. The civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, marine engineering, biomedical engineering, electronic and telecom engineering, etc. Another one, to help in the acquisition of intelligent technical knowledge. And to promote the study of engineering to encourage the original research. And here another objective is here to conduct examination qualifying for the membership of the institute to test the competency of the person engaged in practice and grant certificate of competencies. To conduct exams qualifying for membership of the institute. The example PR exam, the one of the objects. And to regulate the professional activities. And to the government and the public bodies and the other facilities to conference and direct ascertain the views of engineers regarding the matters directly or indirectly affecting engineering. Views of engineers. For example, say now we can give the views of this gas cylinder issue. We can give the views of that accidents happen in the roads, etc. And here important settlement of disputes by arbitration and nominate arbitrators and umpires. So you can, these are the, you don't make a katapadam karandepa, you don't want to frame it, but you can say these are the objectives. Okay. You can easily remember few things. Those are the 10 objects or 11 objects. Is that okay? To assess the eligibility and candidate for the admission of the various grades of membership. What are the memberships? Corporate membership, associate membership, and affiliate membership. And to regulate the professional activities as it remain high stand. So those are things you can just read it and understand. Yes, I don't know exactly what kind of they will ask directly or indirectly. But if you have an idea about these objects, so you can answer. It means what you want to say, you will have to answer. You are an associate member. You just read it, and I narrate only few things because to promote and advance science and practice of engineering. Is the key of number one, and technical knowledge, promote and engineer encourage original research, conduct examination, qualify, and assess the eligibility. Then now we have, that is a PR, your PRB paper also in one step of assessment, and regulate professional activities, and to the government, and it means not the warning I'm telling, the advice you can government, and settlement of dispute by arbitration. The foster coordination of similar activities instituted in Sri Lanka and other countries in furthering the objects of the institutes. Coordinate other similar institutes in Sri Lanka. We'll have to work with some other institutes. Quantity Service Institute and Architect Institution of Sri Lanka, Institution of Sri Lankan Architects, Institution of Chartered Accountants. So to foster coordination and to do such acts, things are incidental and conducive to the attainments of whether effective any of them. So you can read and understand it. This is because you are an associate member, you can understand. But if you need further elaboration, I can. Hope did you understand? So now time is around 17:14. So I wish you all the best and write your answers. Maintain the clarity precisely. You'd have to answer precisely, concisely, and maintain the clarity. Yes, there is a disciplinary procedure in ICSL Act. Yes, yes. Yeah, there is a provision. For example, if someone make a complaint to ECSL Act, that engineer practitioner, for example, if first person is a civil engineer, put the seal for the electrical engineer drawing, that is a gross violation. That is gross violation. You have to practice only in the area where you are empowered, where you are specialized. Yes, there is a procedure. Any public, as is the act, engineering council is established by the act. So public can make a complaint to them that particular engineer is badly behaving or is practicing illegally, or it is practicing illegally because actually he is a civil engineer, he is practicing as an electrical engineer is been as well. Then there will be a disciplinary procedure. That is in the short title. Always go to the short title. It says matters connected to their aim. It is engineering council is formed to register engineer practitioners and to regulate the matters they are in. Yes. Regulator means parliament. That's what I'm saying. I hope you understand it. Did you understand? Okay. Then we'll wind up the session. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, I can give my number, or you can send me a WhatsApp message. Can you my number? Note 71 47 36 791. Note 71 47 36 791. If I don't answer, send me WhatsApp message. Okay. Once again, good luck. Wish you all the best. Stay safe.